We're jumping right back in with our mech reviews here, looking at the mechs from Mech Warrior Online, transitioning over to the tabletop version of Battletech. And in this vlog, we're going to explore the Dragon. We've just made that jump from mediums to now heavies. And I've been pushing up these Battletech reviews, along with some other Battletech Tactica, to my playlist here, the Battletech playlist, over on my YouTube channel. Jump right in, listen to some ideas, and hopefully bring some new tactics to your game, whether you've been playing for a while or there has never been a better time to be a part of the Battletech community as a new player. So at first, on paper, first glance, looking at the tech manual, first pass, I'm going to be a little harsh on the Dragon, or it sounds like I'm going to be a little bit harsh on the Dragon. But with such a configuration and the tonnage that it comes in on, I would say the Dragon has more bite than it first appears. And against mech warriors that are maybe not familiar with this machine, at certain battle values, it's got some staying power. It's got some spice. It's got some bite. So we jump in with heavy mechs. And what we start to see is now we have enough internal tonnage where we can mount a lot of different redundant weapons. We can mount bigger engines and still push okay speed without paying a tremendous price. Look, I can make you a fast assault mech, but that engine, to power that tonnage, is going to take up a lot. That's going to pull away from other areas. We now, jumping into heavy mechs, true battle mechs, we've got enough armor. Not that I want to get hit, not that we ever want to get hit, but you could take a couple of PPC hits and still be in the game, as opposed to a medium. You don't want to take them. Light mech, you take a hit with a PPC or an AC-10, you're losing something. You're losing an arm, you're leaving a leg. So heavies have the staying power, they have the weapons, they've got the speed to be reflexive, responsive enough that they bring a lot to the table. So with that criteria, we jump in with the Dragon. First thing we see is an LRM 10-pack. Location, center torso. Now that's important because the most armored aspect of a mech is that center torso. It's protecting that gyro. It's protecting that engine. So from that perspective, having a weapon mounted in there means, for the most part, I mean, nothing's guaranteed in Battletech. We've rolled that dice. Look, any war game where you roll dice, stuff is going to happen. What this means is now that LRM 10-pack or whatever weapon configuration it's going to be, that's got staying power. That's going to be shooting every single turn. By the time it gets taken out, meaning you go to internal center torso, you roll to confirm for a crit, yeah, it could get taken out, but you've got bigger problems then. And it has the ammo to sustain that firepower. But I'm looking and saying, 10-pack on a heavy? 10-pack on a light, a Valkyrie, that's a novelty. That's something special. Just like we see with the Panther, mounting a PPC. That's a light. That's something special. 10-packs are common on medium mechs. Look at the Griffin. I mean, that's kind of standard. So when we jump in tonnage, because remember, we're getting more. When we jump in tonnage, a heavy bringing a 10-pack, okay, if it has a brace of other weapons, but a 10-pack, I expected a 15. I won't say a 20. That's got tonnage, but at least a 15. 10 feels a little underwhelmed. Okay, but what about the other weapons? Let's see how they complement. We've got an autocannon. Autocannon on heavy mechs. This is now the kind of trade-off. Pros and cons, plus and minus, yes or no, light and dark. When we explore that, autocannon 10, PPC, 10 points each, range each. Disadvantage of the autocannon on the heavy mech is the fact that you've got ammo. You've got to possibly manage ammo or worry about internal explosions if it goes critical. On the PPC, you have no ammo, but the difference is heat. And being able to fire less heat, generate less heat with autocannons than compared to PPC. So there's advantages or disadvantages. I expect to see a PPC. I expect to see large laser. I expect to see some sort of autocannon mounted on a heavy as a primary weapon. But we're looking at an autocannon 5. And again, that's light. That seems light on a heavy mech. It's got the range. 5 points is okay, but that's medium laser territory. So again, seems first pass. Very light. Okay, we've got medium lasers. Now, this is where I expect to start seeing on heavy mechs a couple of medium lasers. Now, whether you have the heat management and the discipline as a mech warrior to fire them and maintain heat, that's a different story. But having them means you have enough tonnage. We can mount multiples. We can mount redundancy. That increases your ability to hit. The old saying, 1 is none, 2 is 1, 3 is some. So we've got 2. I like to see that. Medium laser, inner sphere tech, best combination of heat, damage versus range. 1 in the front, 1 in the back. Now, would I prefer both in the front? I would, but having 1 in the back, it's handy every now and then. And it's part novelty, part like, okay, you can engage as a secondary target or zap as a primary if something is directly behind you and other things are in range farther down where you're probably not going to hit, so you take that penalty, you declare secondary. It's interesting. We start to see a couple of mechs with configurations with that rear-facing weapon. On a heavy mech, this gets kind of interesting because you're going to be mixing things up. You're going to be part of a lance, expected to pull your weight, expected to engage, expected to hold the line, and dish out consistent damage. It's good to have a rear-mounted weapon. It's good because things are going to get behind you. No matter how tactically viable you are, stuff happens. At least you've got something to zap with. But I would have liked them facing 2. So we look at a heavy mech that seems a little bit underpowered. But when we balance that out with the speed, when we balance that out with the armor, the Dragon is very well armored for its weight class. This is kind of the summary of it. All of this combined with good armor and the fact battle value wise, this is buy-in for a light end heavy mech. It wouldn't be fair to compare to the Dragon to some of the higher end heavy mechs because then you're just like one bump away from an assault mech. There is a difference in that range. So from that perspective, the weapon output, while I believe it's a little lighter, it still has bite, but you've got that armor. You've got the armor, and you've got the lesser tonnage buying in at a smaller battle value. A slight bump, as we explored, the fact that that 10-pack is in the center torso. The fact that autocannon, even though it's a 5, has got enough ammo, you're going to be firing every turn. And you'll be able to manage heat, and you'll be able to outpace and push out certain types of firepower. So from that perspective, this is why I think the Dragon's got more tactical bite than it first appears. And I could see some new players getting a little bit frustrated with the Dragon. Hey, this is heavy mech. It should perform like a heavy. Well, it does. But it's riding that fine line. Is it a heavy medium mech or is it a light heavy mech? We can kind of go on both sides. But again, looking at the fact of the battle value and its tonnage, weapons versus armor versus speed, it has that bite.